I have a technical background. I have a technical education. I'm an engineer, basically a radio engineer. So I'm interested in all technologies, and that's why my presentation about the future of OpenStreetMap will be connected with technologies. So you can see that there are lots of interesting letters. So let's start. It's kind of agenda. So let's just go. So what are now the trends in imagery industry? I was looking for different companies who is doing capturing data. You know that a big shift. What will happen in the next 5 years? There's a big shift made by SpaceX because they were able to drop down the prices for launch of satellites in space, and now the cheapest one costs $62 million. Of course, it's quite expensive for normal people, but still, for some commercial companies, it's already not so much money. And it's really great because in this year, SpaceX were able to land the first stage twice. So it's great. So what's good and bad about satellite imagery? Of course, yeah, you can now launch it with SpaceX. I believe that in the next 5 years, lots of governments will be able to, who have never had their satellite in the space, will launch at least one satellite to capture data. The resolution is really quite high right now, and it will be much more higher. And there is no problems with government, so they really can't see anything flying in the sky, so they got ready. What are cons? One satellite takes 2 years to capture the whole world. So you need to have at least 5 satellites to have the whole world picture in 5 months. And it's quite expensive. Right now, only Digital Globe has that amount of high-resolution imagery satellites. So it takes about 2 years to launch the satellite, so it will take some time. But I believe that there will be a network of satellites, imagery satellites, high resolution, that can be accessible for open communities. What we need it for, I will tell further. So, but the problem is clouds and trees. So basically, you can see the resolution of the latest satellite by Digital Globe. You can really even see people playing on the court. So drones and aerial imagery is what are pros? High resolution, up to 1 centimeter per pixel. It's cheap and easy to use. It's under the clouds, and you can really launch it every day because satellites takes really time to take the pictures. But what are the cons? Low area coverage. Many drones required to cover the whole area. And there are some security regulations, of course, and sometimes unstable quality. But I'm really impressed with the quality of images by Bing Imagery in Spain. It's really very detailed. What about neural networks? The thing is that we do not have it right now. What's good about it that we can educate the neural networks, I mean artificial intelligence, to recognize roads and buildings, and trees and water, etc. So we have huge community ready to educate, because what's difficult about neural networks is education process, but we have lots of people ready to do it. And it recognizes images much better than people. So what are cons? Basically no cons, but it requires high resolution data. So you can remember that we need a network of high resolution satellites to get it done. But still we have right now quite a lot of imagery from Digital Globe. And humans need to help out. This is the example of roads recognized by Facebook and artificial intelligence, presented last year, and nothing happened right now in OpenStreetMap. It's really sad. So yeah, I can recognize cats much better than people, and the same thing works for buildings. I really was really impressed by these 3D views by Google. Have you seen them? It's just the example in Spain. It's really impressive. So they can see the shapes of buildings, and they reconstruct these data with satellite imageries. So we can do the same, but we need technology. Because there's a picture in Google with the dinosaurs that symbolizes that you should always go forward, otherwise you will be dead like these ancient animals. There's a big trend in dashcams and augmented reality navigation. They're also launched by Sajik. It launched in latest iOS 11. Integrated already. So also there are big, huge trend for companies who before a couple of years ago, they were collecting data and selling this data. Right now, this business is dying, and what they're doing right now, they're providing location-based marketing services. That's why there's a great chance to organize the automated input of POI data from these business data collectors, because they really do it great, and they manage all the points from the business owners, not just from users who can make some mistakes in descriptions. There's a huge trend in autonomous self-driving cars. Uber, Tesla, and Google, and lots of huge companies are investing lots of money in this. What it means? These cars will be powered with lots of cameras and lidars and radars. It's a huge amount of data. You can see that there's already some examples of computer vision for self-driving cars. And what these cars are doing, they're building their own maps. And where is OpenStreetMap there? There is no OpenStreetMap there right now. And we really need to communicate somehow with these communities, with these guys, and because I think that these maps should be also public, because if you have several companies getting lots of data from self-driving cars, it would be better to combine their efforts and to share that data. Of course, even robots build their own maps. And I think that maybe how the Mapathon might look in 2020, maybe not like this, but maybe, sorry, I forgot. These are also dynamics. These are also robots already delivering some goods in the United States, and this is how Mapathon might look like. There will be robots, but still there will be humans who will teach robots how to correctly recognize data. Of course, also naturally is important to collect the data on the streets. How many? Just a couple of minutes. Okay, and how we can engage more people? We can acquire new members. We can engage existing members. We can start using artificial intelligence. But if we are doing the first two steps, then the third step and the fourth step basically is missing. So we need to do something. This is how Google Maps do. They're just also getting more information from regular users. They engage them with loyalty programs. Just never mind. I did it before OpenStreetMap. Because I didn't know anything about OpenStreetMap. And Google acquired me as a contributor, pinging me around, hey man, why don't you share a picture? And it's really funny. Here's a badge for you. You're a level 5 member. Facebook do the same. It's really huge. And what we're doing in Maps, we're getting more regular users. We convert them to casual point members, and some of them became hardcore OSM members. And this is basically how I see the future of OpenStreetMap. There will be a huge amount of data coming from high-resolution satellites, processed by artificial intelligence and educated by humans, I mean by OpenStreetMap users. And the second step will be data from self-driving cars, also using artificial intelligence to recognize road lines, road signs, a lot of things. Because satellites, it's really great, even they have the highest resolution, but they're taking pictures from high above, from the exact angle. That's why sometimes they cannot read, in some cases, the street signs. So cars will be reading these street signs and all the road signs very well. And the third step, we cannot, anyway, we need humans to validate, to get more local data, local knowledge, because meanwhile, no robots are coming inside the building to find out what's in menu of restaurant. So only humans right now can do it. And
Is it 2
yeah.
more minutes?
Great. So I'm done. Yeah. I think I have to yeah, this is basically my vision. I think yeah, this is how it works.